Hi guys, welcome to Flaws Forgiven's very first video blog. Today I'm going to show my chicken coop off a little bit, tell you a little bit about how it was built, why it was built the way it was built, and some of my favorite features. So let's get started. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was the orientation and overall design of the chicken coop. So let me just pull out just a bit here. If you look, you can see that the west and south side has windows, and the smallest amount of surface area is on the east and north sides of the coop. That was very intentional. It is passive solar design, so the sun shines the most in the west and the south for my yard, and I wanted to make sure that those sides of the coop got the most amount of light and then therefore the most warmth. Also, the nesting boxes are here on the north side because the hens like it dark in there. So we used a lot of passive design in this puppy. So let's talk about some security features. So I've got a couple different doors on this here coop. I use these latches because raccoons can't use them. So there's a latch on this door, and then if you look through the coop, you can see there's a latch on that door too. This door I wanted here because I wanted a very easy way for me to roll up my wheelbarrow, kind of pull all those shavings out, load up the wheelbarrow, and then haul it all the way over there to the compost pile. So I wanted a door in the back where I could very easily get into the coop. Now if you look through here, my other door, this is mostly for the girls. I'll open up this big old door to air it out. I can climb in there through this door, which is awesome. It has the same latch. But if you notice, when I walked in here, I walked through a big old screen door. This screen door is just your standard screen door with cool little locks on it. These bobbers, these are tough. These are not easy to unlock. But I wanted a nice full-size person door that I could use to get in and out of the run. So as you can see, next step of my security was to install a fully enclosed run. Now, if you can tell, the door is open. Some of the girls are out right now. I wanted them to get to the grass, but along the bottom, I used hardware cloth all the way around the bottom, and this ridiculously handsome bearded man dug a trench about 12 to 14 inches deep and sunk that hardware cloth all the way around the bottom of the actual coop. Can you see that? And we had to use a couple double layers, so I had to go through and use little baling wire to kind of connect those. I don't know if you can see that here. Yep. But this keeps the area directly under their coop ridiculously secure. We secured it to the bottom of the coop with staples. And we also used hardware cloth on the inside along these openings. So anywhere that I saw that there was the potential for something to crawl in here, there you go. Hardware cloth keeps all the baddies out. The actual run doesn't have the same hardware cloth. They're not out in the run at night. They're locked in their coop at night. So this run is strictly to prevent them from getting terrorized by predators in the middle of the day. Now, if you notice, my backyard has an 8-foot high privacy fence made out of wood. We don't get coyotes. We have had a couple of predator attacks. I'm pretty sure they were fox kits. This will keep them away for the most part. Foxes can chew through chicken wire, I have heard, but the girls are never really out here long enough for me to be too concerned. And like I said, this is a secondary measure to keep those foxes away. So I did apron it. It's very hard for you to see, but it's aproned. And then I stapled it to these landscaping timbers. So when Handsome Bearded Man and I were coming up with the ideas for this project, one of the things I wanted was this big, giant run. You can see it stretches out quite a bit. I needed something affordable. I needed something that would be sturdy. Landscape timbers fit the bill. And then this net is to keep them safe from hawk predators flying. We also get bald eagles, which is amazing, but and they're beautiful. I love them, but I don't want them to eat my girls, and they have before. They've picked off my chickens like nobody's business. So This net is 50 feet by 50 feet. It cost $40 on the internet. Bearded Man found it and I bought it and put it up myself. Super simple. It's just resting on top of these. I didn't even secure it to the top of these landscape timbers. I wanted the flexibility to move it later if I wanted. And you can see I have so much excess net still. So if I wanted to, I could expand this run out even farther. And they'd have even more room. You can see where the stuff is growing. They've been eating so much. Nice little border of chicken eaten versus growing. Okay. So those are some of the security features I built into this coop. And by me, I mean Bearded Man built them. But we came up with the ideas together, so I'm taking partial credit. The nesting box door is very, very heavy. This is all made out of plywood, so it has started to curl. Bearded Man came up with the awesome idea of, oh, hello, my loves. Hello, my loves. Hello, sweetheart. He came up with the awesome idea of taking half of a landscaping timber. I don't know if you can see that. I'm completely twisted right now. I'm going to try not to bother my girls. To keep that straight, but it's very heavy. Good thing though, nothing's going to be able to get in there. Raccoons aren't going to be able to lift that. I can barely lift that, so it works out well. Yep. Okay, also, last security feature I wanted to point out, the distance from the ground. This is obviously an elevated coop. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have creepy crawlers. Technically, they could use the ladder. Technically, they could use the posts. They could crawl up there if they wanted to. But the distance from the ground makes it a little bit tricky. So I'm never going to have a perfect security system for my coop. It's never going to be the way I want it to be. It's not going to be Fort Knox. What I'm trying to do is layer on inconveniences. Layer one inconvenience on top of the next, until eventually it gets so dang frustrating that they go somewhere better to hunt. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to show you. Okay, check this out. Can you see this? Watch. Are you watching? So this lever, I'm going to try and use it. I'm going to try and hold my camera with my left hand. There we go. This lever pulls the door open and shut in the floor of their coop so that they can walk up and down the ladder. That means that I can keep this door shut and locked, only use it when I need to clean her, when I want to check on them. And when it comes time for me to let them into the run in the morning, all I have to do is come and pull this little lever back and forth. Very cool. On the inside, what was happening was the door fits perfect, but it was, see how it lifts up like this? I was worried that something was going to come in here and get to them. And so what I did was I took little pieces of wood, little chunks of wood. So when the door is closed, it's stuck under here. So if something were to push up on it from underneath, they're not going to be able to get it to pop open. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk about functionality. Ventilation was very important to me. I live in Northern Illinois. We are Zone 5B. We get extremely hot summers and extremely cold winters. I wanted to make sure the ventilation was good because in the wintertime, they're going to be in here quite a lot and they breathe and that breath creates moisture. And if there's nowhere for it to go, they're SOL and it can cause all sorts of problems health-wise. So I made sure that there was ventilation pretty much all the way around. There's this area up here near the front of the coop is what I call it. Pretty nice big space, and the wood, I don't know if you can see, the wood alternates. So this piece is lower than this piece, and then I also have this incredible rain guard here that's connected. And that rain guard keeps the water from splashing in, and the water hits this and comes down instead of hitting this and falling into the coop. So it keeps it nice and dry while allowing the ventilation to be a thing. It goes all the way around that side too. And then I showed you back on that back wall. I can get down just a little bit, you can see. And then this area has some too. So it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I do use pine shavings, as you can see. Pine shavings are super absorbent, and most importantly, they are ridiculously cheap. So I use pine shavings. I clean out, you can see that it needs to be cleaned right now. Bad timing, Jen. Floss forgiven. I need to go ahead and clean this out, but I typically clean it once or twice a month, which is not too bad. And these shavings just go straight into my garden beds, or they go straight into the compost pile because they're perfect, and it's pine. So it works really well, especially with blueberries. If you have blueberries, use pine shavings because blueberries love pine. So let's see. We talked about the doors, and you got to see a little bit of the nesting boxes here, but let me just show you. I use curtains. I do use curtains because the girls, they won't lay otherwise. It is dark over there, like I said, built on the north side or whatever, but it is dark, but the curtains help them feel a little bit more secure. So these are very adequately sized nesting boxes. I, like everybody else and their mother, have way too many nesting boxes. I only have 8 girls, and I have 6 nesting boxes. But you know, I'm very hopeful. I'm a hopeful person. I also wanted to make sure that their food and water was somewhere where it would stay dry, but it wasn't in the coop. I didn't want to have to worry about moisture issues with water inside the coop. So in the winter time, they will have to come outside to get their food and their water. This is a heated water. It just started getting warm here. We have to switch it out soon with the regular poultry nipple water that kind of hangs down. But until then, we're gonna be using this just until the frost is over. And the little electrical cord plugs in here, runs all the way back to my house because I don't have an outlet out here. And then I've got a regular stand-up feeder. But this is all another reason why it was elevated. It gives them lots of headroom to be under in the wintertime where they don't have to get rained on. I could very easily throw a tarp up on one of these sides to keep the wind out if I needed to. But it's nice and enclosed, and it prevents any sort of weather from pelting them in the face when they're trying to get their food and water. So very, very nice little feature. I'm very happy that we decided to elevate it a little bit. You saw the stairs. You saw how they come up and down. The learning curve for that was very short. They figured it out. They were hungry. They wanted to jump down. So it worked out just fine. And the roosts. So we're transferring into the more fun side of the coop. These are some of my most favorite features. So the roosts are my most favorite feature. They are beautiful. They were from branches that were laying in my yard, and I went ahead and hung them up. And by me, I mean Bearded Man hung them up. He stripped the bark off of most of them, got them nice and smooth. The girls love them. A lot of people say you have to have 2x4s so that they can cover their feet in the winter. I've never had that. I've always used big, giant, thick branches. Everybody can, do your own thing. It's totally fine. But this works really well for me. I've never had a problem with frostbitten feet, and branches are free. The windows, I absolutely adore. They're on that side of the house. Like I said, gets a lot of light. And the girls, when they have the windows, they wake up on time, and the light helps them. Light is what induces their egg laying. So I wanted to make sure they knew it was light out inside their coop and they weren't in the dark. So these little windows were extra single panes of glass that were kind of hanging out in my shed, and Bearded Man kind of framed them in and hung them for me, and I absolutely love them. I'm just crazy about them. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to show you really quickly. To keep them from kicking out their shavings in their nesting boxes, I have Bearded Man put this toe kick in. They still kick stuff out all the time, but look at those eggs. Look at those yummy eggs. But this keeps them from getting too crazy. So within the run itself, when they're not able to be outside, because a lot of times they're in this run and this run only just because I'm not home a lot. So when I am home, I let them out, but when I'm not, they do have to make do with this. There's lots of wild plants that grow here. You can see where they've been digging. And then I did open up this area for them. This little greenhouse is a secondary area for them to come and hang out when they are, wanting to play around in the run, and I'm not able to let them in and out into the big yard. So they've got lots of room. Like I said, 8 girls. I do have a problem with chicken math. So chances are my 8 girls will probably double in the next couple years here. But until then, they're very comfortable here. This hen house, when I did the square footage and we calculated how many chickens we could actually have in this sucker, it came out to 16 hens. So I could essentially double and keep 16 hens in this coop. And then the run space is additional space. The greenhouse is additional space. The area under the coop is additional space. And then, of course, they've got the big old yard. So that is it. I just showed you guys my coop. I'm very excited about it. I hope that you got something out of that, some ideas that maybe you could use for your own homestead, your own coop. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the blog, and I will return your comments ASAP. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day.